Content warning. Right. This episode contains mentions of suicide, depression, and murder, and death in general. We hope you will enjoy it regardless. Welcome to Tea and Toffees. I'm Neitshayd. Editing Neitshayd, to be precise, which is why I'm on my own without Cecilia for now. If you're coming from the last episode, you'll already know I decided to split our Death Parade discussion in 2 parts, after we had already recorded it. We will pick up right where we stopped, with episodes 5 to 7 of the anime Death Parade. We hope you'll enjoy it.
We move on to... I bunched the next 3 together, even though all 3 of them have like kind of different story points. Because they are still intermission episodes. Like, we got some stuff about the Arbiters, we got Ginti and his Fangirl, and yeah. Also, we get more interior design. And Chavvot! I say with excitement when I don't actually have any feelings about the picture book story. Anyway, so. We see the barmaid wake up from sleeping, which makes me wonder, why does she need to sleep when she's dead? But I guess we need barmaid backstory, so there's that.
Yeah, so that's the only reason.
Also, finally, the roulette from the OVA, I think. Is it? Like, I remember that the OVA roulette also had Chavvot.
Yes, the roulette with the picture book girl is back. And yes, I think it's the same one we saw in the OVA. And Nona was the one to tell. They came to switch it out. And I'm like, interesting. Neitshayd?
Give me, so thing is, one of my thoughts just told me that I should have drawn the background for this episode bloody, like, make Chavvot stab Jimmy or something, and I'm like, I can't do that! Whether I'd like to or not, I can't do that. Brain, what are you doing?
Your brain is really weird sometimes, and I'm glad you didn't do that.
I mean, I did draw organs. Kind of.
Yes, but these organs are harmless. But drawing a child stabbing another child and it's all bloody, no. I don't think YouTube would like that.
That reminds me, for our last Harry Potter episode, I think I stabbed a dragon. Like, I drew a dragon getting stabbed. You haven't seen that one yet, have you?
I have seen one. I have seen it. You stabbing a dragon.
Was that? Oh yeah, no, never mind. Yeah, I confused the episodes.
Stab the dragon in the heart and get some dragon heartstrings, right?
Because I recently edited another dragon episode, but was different dragons.
It was a sketch, you know.
So you did see.
And
was
it's
it
a dragon.
Nice? Didn't it look cool?
Yes.
Didn't it look cool?
Yes, it did. But it was a dragon. It was a mythical creature. I think it would have been it's different. A child stabbing another child.
If you say so.
Yes.
So, my first thought when we saw this was like, is it time for the murder episode? And then when I saw the child attack the barmaid, I went like, oh no, wait, wasn't this a simulation? And yeah, it was. Because the true murder episode comes later with the police dude. But also, no one would ever suspect the child.
First off, detective dude, not police dude. Important.
Isn't that the same? Didn't he work for the police?
I didn't get that vibe that he struck me more of a private investigator sort of guy.
No. I think he was an official one.
He was an official
working for
one?
the police force. Yes.
Yes, who cares anyways? Yeah, nobody.
And then he went off the deep end.
Yes, nobody would ever suspect the child, because why would they? It's an innocent child, after all. No one ever suspects the kid.
Yeah. Ah, yes, so the man thinks he's been there before. Makes us wonder, is this a reincarnated soul?
Could be possible.
I wonder, but we shall never know, because the man's merely a dummy. He's not real.
Yep.
He is not real. So, we also see a scene between Nona and the old geezer. I think his name is Oculus. They're playing pool with the solar system, which pretty.
Oh, yes, it looks so awesome. I want to play.
So Oculus calls himself the man who's closest to being God. And he's sus in a very lovely way.
Mm-hmm.
And also apparently barely ever wins at billiards against Nona. Also great voice acting here. Unfortunately, Oculus's arc doesn't get resolved at all.
Nope.
It's a weak point of this series.
Yeah.
Back to the supposedly reincarnated soul. He's using chopsticks, and I'm like, chopsticks? As weapons? Are you going to stab the kid's eyes or what? What? Because he's holding it to the kid's neck, and I'm like, I don't think so. I don't think that works.
I mean, chopsticks as a weapon works. You previously said you would like to poke people's eyes out with those.
Did I?
When you put your hair up with a pair of chopsticks last week?
Oh yeah, I did that because of the bloody heat.
Yeah.
Anyway, we also learned that the barmaid being there was apparently not Dekim's decision, or at least he didn't make the final call. Nona did. Dekim was merely clueless about what to do with her. Also, Ginti went kind of overboard, but still, Dekim, you failed the test.
Yeah, you kind of failed, but yeah. Would Ginti be gobble up material? Because he is a handsome buff dude, after all.
No.
That's all you have to say?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh well. Also, this is one of those episodes where I'm like, yeah, sha. I really love the visual designs of this anime. We get like a school mask lady on a skeleton fish with a lollipop. It looks awesome.
Yeah.
Also funny that Ginti would judge Dekim for not passing judgment on the barmaid when he'll run into the same problem right in the next episode.
Mm-hmm.
And Chavvot's smile is kind of creepy. It's not meant to be creepy, but I think it's the eyes that makes her smile creepy.
But I have to agree with you, it's a bit creepy.
More on Chavvot later. So, that's how we meet Ginti. He's the star of episode 6. Or not, because the star of episode 6 is the fangirl with her idol.
Fangirl mode activate.
Twister. That's a bit of an unusual game compared to what we had so far. But okay, we are in a different bar. I played it before. I didn't like it. I prefer watching.
Watching. Like the eye? Anyways,
yeah, I guess.
I have played it before, of course. It's a rather normal game, so the answer being yes is to be expected, you know.
Do you like it?
I don't mind it. It's fine, but I think like would be too much. And the problem is nowadays I mostly wear skirts, and I wouldn't want to play that game with a skirt.
Because skirts are superior. Everyone needs to wear skirts.
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly.
But most importantly, Ginti has a cat!
Yes! Yes, cat! Mine is best character. Of course they are. There's no question about that. But why is the white front leg bandage? Poor kitty cat. Also, Toffee was staring at me just now. It's like, are you talking to me? And I'm like, no, I'm not.
Our Toffnoff is the best. Fat.
Yes.
Cat.
Yes. Toffnoff is the best. Aren't you? Yes. We also got the obligatory panty shot.
They have been fairly tame on that front so far, thankfully.
Yeah, thankfully so.
Also interesting. It's you don't quite realize it at first, but as the game goes on, it's like, did Ginti not explain the rules fully?
Did he explain them at all?
But why don't they fear for their lives? Like, two from episode 3 also didn't know that I think about it, fear for their life. But the rules make you think that way, so it's like, did he not explain them fully?
I don't think we actually see him explain the rules like at all, because I mean maybe he normally does it, but the fangirl mode interrupted him and then he kind of forgot. But
no, I mean to be fair, To be fair, in the other episodes, we also didn't see the rules get explained because we've heard them so often.
Yeah.
So you'd assume he did off screen.
But yeah, I was then wondering that, like, did he not explain that just because we didn't see him explain it? So we don't know. We just don't know. And yeah, Twister in itself would just be too tame of a game. So the floor is lava. Wait, it's only hot coals and strong wind and the freezer. And this episode is the reason people think they will die. You know, the game ends with one of them falling on spikes.
Well, actually, you said we don't know, but we do know. Because at that point, once they reach like this point where like it gets spiced up, we realized that Ginti really didn't explain the rules fully, because he's like, if you're unlucky, you will die, and he tells them during the game. Is that Toffee?
Yes,
no.
That is Toffee.
Oh, poor Toffee darling.
Yeah.
He's meowing in the background. Oh, Mike's won't pick that up probably, but
probably not. But yeah,
poor Toffee.
Toffee.
Yeah. Anyway, also, is that a liar here, Ginti? Because they won't die.
Maybe.
Hikim doesn't die, but Ginti does.
Yeah.
Either way, this episode is so ridiculous. I mean, it's hard to take anything seriously, even though we do have serious topics, like one of the Idol's fans/ex-girlfriends committing suicide and stuff, but it's just, this episode is ridiculous.
Yeah, it really is ridiculous. The fangirl would rather die than pee herself, and saving her idol in the process is apparently just a bonus, which, okay. And he regrets not treating all his fans well, and he wants to save her. And he could have said to her that if she really is a fan, she should gladly die for him, but he didn't, so he's not a bad guy. All you have to say?
Yeah, I guess. I suppose. If you say so.
I do.
Something else, well, we already noticed that last episode. Ginti is very temperamental for someone who supposedly doesn't have emotions.
Yeah.
And then when he's like, yeah, I don't understand you, I think the part where he can't judge the fangirl is less of an arbiter not understanding human thing, and more, this is a man who can't understand women.
Yep.
Or fangirls. Just.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, boys can also be fangirls, you know?
Yeah.
Just saying. We also don't get to know where the idol was sent at the end.
At least not yet.
Yeah. So episode 5, the previous one, didn't have a proper game. Episode 6 took place elsewhere, and episode 7 still does not give us a proper game. But we do learn about arbiter rules. I'll just read them. Arbiters cannot quit making judgments, for that is the reason why they exist. Arbiters cannot experience death, for that would bring them too close to being human. And arbiters cannot feel emotions, for they are merely puppets.
Can't feel emotions because they are dummies? I thought this was for rational judgment, you know.
Well, I suppose that too, I suppose, probably, but the rule says, yeah, they're puppets, dummies, and that's why they can't. I'm like, yeah, yes, yeah, sure. Or maybe it's like, yeah, they are not allowed to feel humans because they are just puppets, and therefore they have to behave like, well, whatever, who knows?
Complicated.
Also, the base principle on which the arbiters create extreme conditions to bring out the darkness inside the game participants' hearts is the fear of death. And that already makes the system flawed.
Yeah.
I mean, the system is generally very, very flawed on many points, but this is the first point where it's like, yep, inherently flawed, because not everyone fears death. Also, some humans are able to stay calm under extreme stress far easier than others. Some can just do that. They're used to it. It's fine.
Yeah.
Others are not. I mean, I suppose if they match up the pairs, they would choose people who equally react to stress situations, but we don't know that because we never hear of that. We never see that. It's not explained.
We just do not know.
What was episode 7 even about? Like, we didn't get any world building. nothing that was properly explained anyway. No new moral dilemmas, just a setup for conflict that won't be resolved anyway, apart from Dekim confronting his emotions later on. And, well, we got to watch him create puppets based on previous gifts, but there was nothing substantial about episode 7.
Yeah, not really. So what did I make notes on? Find something you treasure, Queen said. Like the jellyfish tank, the floating lotus lanterns, the beautiful bar interior in general. Toffee.
Toffee.
Yes, Toffee, darling. But if they lose all the memories of the people they judge, then how can Deki remake them as dummies? Does he do that before he forgets them? And how do they learn for future judgments? Because Quinn became skeptical about the judging at one point. Or was that because she forgot everything? And what are special arbiters? Why are some people marked and have to be sent to a special judge?
I think they only lose the memories that belong to their guests, not the memories of the games themselves. And the special judges are obviously trained for special cases, like people who work on a different moral compass, people like murderers.
Yeah, as I learned in the later episode.
But yeah, I think it's... I don't quite remember the scene, but they're probably talking about the implanted memories that don't belong to the arbiters themselves, but to the game participants.
Oh, I guess that was not really clear, at least not to me.
Yeah, but it would make sense that they would keep those, because why would they?
Yeah, why would they?
But they will most likely keep... It wouldn't make sense to erase the memories of the judging itself.
Okay.
Oh, so at the end we have like Nona going against rules to give her experiment a challenge. Time for the murder episode.
Murder episode.
Yeah, we have 2 people who take a life or several lives for revenge. Murder episode. Initial question is like, which one's a murderer? And I'm like, both. We don't know that at that point though.
Nope.
Most people would think it's the older man because he's sus as hell. Or they think it's the younger one precisely because he seems less likely to have killed someone and he has a bloody knife. Which it is literally bloody, but it's also a bloody knife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
British.
Yeah. I say both are murderers and I am right.
Because you are.
So, this time we're playing air hockey.
Yeah, it's a lovely game. I always enjoyed playing it, even though there weren't many chances to do so.
Yeah, I really enjoyed playing that back in the day. Been quite some years since I had the opportunity. Honestly, it's been quite some years since I had the opportunity to play most of these games from this series. Honestly.
Yeah.
They're all great games.
Same.
I want to play pool again. I need to ask whether they will ever clear up the table.
Yeah.
The humans.
And then I would join you.
Then maybe I'll visit. Then maybe I'll come visit and then we can play pool.
Oh, that would be nice.
Maybe I can. I mean, I can ask whether we can come over for Christmas, and then I can take you and Toffee with me.
Yes,
that would be cool. Well, that's still in the cards in quite some way, quite some time away. So we also get organs as per usual. Sketchy once again. I think they're always sketchy except for episode 1.
Yeah.
We learn that the detective's wife got murdered, the young man's sister got assaulted, and that after this, and well, the detective had a fairly good life apart from the wife getting murdered, whereas the young man, he's like, they lost their parents at a young age, and then his sister got assaulted, so, oh no.
Yeah, and all of that at a young age, it's losing your parents when you're still in school and then having to comfort and raise and protect a younger sister. Wow, that's rough, buddy. That's rough, buddy. And the man's wife is dead, and he actually survived without her. Still, that's rough, buddy.
I'd argue that the way he went about things afterwards hardly counts as living.
Yeah, I think you're right about that one. So one could argue that he didn't survive his wife.
He really didn't.
Yeah.
Yes. And then halfway through the game, the pain part is introduced. Would you look at that?
Mm.
It's been a while since the players got actively hurt by the game itself.
Yeah.
And I call it, I mean, we obviously saw this anime before, but I call it, they're both murderers.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
And
Or
then
not?
the old man is like, you killed me. And the young man's like, oh, I did. Oh, no.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, no.
you killed the detective and not the culprit who did this to your sister? Oh, no. Whoops. Wait.
Whoops.
He was the one who did it to the sister. He was the one the sister was talking about. He just stood there and watched. So basically, the young man did murder both of the people he wanted to murder.
Yeah. Revenge successful.
Even though it was half accidental because he just killed the first person who came into the apartment after he killed the first one, assuming it would be the other person, which it was, but the detective wasn't there because he was complicit in he was complicit in the crime, but he was not.
Yeah.
He was not the partner to the other one. So
Yeah.
interesting coincidences there.
Mm.
But then again, the detective did stand there, watch the stalker. And then he did go to the stalker's flat for who knows what reasons. Maybe to kill him, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, I suppose the young one is the one you're supposed to be able to understand, somewhat. The detective is just scum. But there is merit in both their words. And I mean, in the end, well, even though there is merit to their words, in the end, they're still both murderers.
Yeah, both murderers in the end. I think the boy can still be saved. Like he showed concern for the man. He murdered out of love for his sister, but he is very shaken by what he did. He vomited into the toilet. For the man, I don't think the score will ever be settled for him. He has seen too many terrible people in his life. He'll just kill every bad guy he comes across. He wanted to kill the bad guy, and and had he interfered, he would not have been able to. But can you really judge the man? He kills people who have committed terrible crimes. We save a lot of resources with them dead instead of being locked up. But is it right to murder them and not give them the chance to repent for their mistakes, to do better? I think that is something everybody needs to decide for themselves. Like, okay, and I want to judge the man for his murder, but I also find it hard to do so because he avenges victims. But on the other hand, he could prevent sometimes then becoming victims in the first place. But I think also like the families of the victims can probably rest easier with the perpetrators dead. It's also very complicated. It's exhausting.
No, it isn't. Look, I've got no sympathy for either of them, nor their murder victims. But I can see from a rational standpoint that standing there and watching a stalker assault a girl to get justification for later murdering that stalker automatically makes you just as bad as that stalker. The detective is scum. Yes. He does not deserve any mercy. He does not deserve any consideration. He just is scum. He should be locked up and just... Well, I guess he's supposed to reflect on his crimes, but we know he won't. Just, no. No, there is no part of him I can understand. Like, no.
Send him to the void. That's all I have to
Yes.
say in the end.
Yes. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Yeah, but when we watched it the first time, I said boy to hell after he did all that.
Did what? You mean stabbing with chips?
Yeah, yes. That's
Okay.
exactly that. I remember that we watched that episode together, and I remember you would have still sent him to reincarnation, right?
No, that's not what I meant. But I'll get to that after you finish your thoughts.
Yeah, because back then I was like, okay, he was held back by our barmaid, and I was like, okay, if he then hadn't done it, I was like, okay, yes, now you can still be saved, but then he stabbed them in the end after all. after all the struggles he went to not do that, and then he did it anyways, and I was like, okay, yeah, that's it for me. But now I find it harder to judge the boy. He finds out that this man in front of him had just watched as his sister got assaulted, had let it happen on purpose, and did not want to interfere. So if he already is a murderer, why not go all the way? This man did nothing when the sister got hurt. I am already dead. There's reincarnation and I can see my sister again? But do I even deserve reincarnation? I'm a murderer after all. And didn't I swear to protect my sister? This man is unhinged and would probably murder again in his next life, if he gets one. Can I trust this emotionless man to send him to the void? I can't. The world is not fair, after all. The world is never fair. And if there is reincarnation, then maybe this man was judged before and reincarnated? Then he watched as my sister and probably many others got hurt. How can someone like him get reincarnated? I have to make sure he doesn't get the chance to. And all of this might be possible, like a possible thought process the boy could have. Or maybe he wasn't thinking at all in his emotionally heightened state. And Toffee, please stop licking my foot. You're making me laugh, and it's really not a situation I should laugh in.
Well, I can't say I agree with any of what you just said, but
And then you don't.
I don't. So, what I wrote in my notes when we watched this was, from our perspective, the detective clearly deserves the bad option, which I suppose is the void. The kid's rather hard to judge. Did I get that right, Cecilia? And I suppose from what you just said, yeah, I did.
Mm-hmm.
From Deacon's perspective, who knows? And Miss Barmaid is there to be Deacon's opposite, so there's that. Also, the detective is not afraid of death. He was initially afraid he would be able to get his revenge, but it was never about him dying. Also, what is he trying to achieve at that point? They're both dead, they know that. Why is the detective provoking the kid into following his footsteps? And also, how did the kid die anyway? Like, they supposedly died around the same time, but we clearly saw the kid stabbing the detective to death. Like, did he bleed out from where the blonde dude stabbed him during the scuffle? Or what happened there?
No clue.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like, yeah, the detective dude is scum, but I don't quite understand why he's provoking the kid into
He's just
making him suffer.
He's just done with everything, you know.
Yeah, but he's specifically making the kid stab the chips, so which would be the equivalent of killing the detective, although they both know that they're dead, so it's just making him suffer through pain. And I don't understand why does he want to drive the kid to desperation like that?
Well,
he's not an arbiter, he has no reason to.
The human mind is complicated, and maybe he wanted to die because he's a murderer.
But they're dead already, and they know they're dead.
I have no clue. Humans are too complicated for me to understand. I haven't studied psychology at all.
Dead.
I don't know.
Dead. There's no reason to do anything anymore. It's like, at this point, shouldn't they both be like, yeah, we're going to hell anyway?
Yeah, maybe that's why they did what they did. Who knows? Even if there's
it doesn't make sense for me.
Yeah,
it's entertaining to watch. It's quite dramatic and all, but I don't understand it. Either way, we got a new mask, and we only see one mask. It looks like a devil, but it's silver. So yeah, the show does not tell us what Deakin decided in the end. Like, there are possible interpretations to be made based on the mask's design, but it is ultimately left up to our imagination, I suppose. Or, I mean, in this case, maybe even to our interpretation. There's a difference, by the way. It's usually better to leave things up to interpretation rather than imagination, because leaving things up to imagination is kind of faulty world building. Anyway, so it's possible that the two murderers were sent to a different judge. It's possible that there's a third option other than reincarnation or void, whatever it may be, although that's unlikely. It's possible one was sent to reincarnation and the other to void, or both to the void. Who knows?
I will go with the first option, sent to a different judge. Maybe one who is like trained for this, one of those special arbiters.
which should have happened from the beginning.
Yes, but Nona wanted to play.
Which leads us to the final arc of this TV series. Can humans truly understand one another? The 3 months are up, so it's time for Miss Barmaid to be judged. Let's start this one with Chavvot, the girl with the creepy smile. So Chavvot is deaf, but Jimmy, the boy from the... Technically he has the same smile, but because of his eyes it's not as creepy. So Jimmy is determined to relay his feelings for Chavvot via, well, other means than words, because obviously she can't hear his words. According to a Tumblr post from Suikun Fan 36, Chavvot is based on a Russian folktale, and that's such a this username. Alright.
Mm-hmm.
I just quote the Tumblr post and not think about this username.
Yeah.
Chavvot is an old Russian legend about a man and a woman. The man's name is Death. Russian Smurd? Yeah. And the woman's name is Life. Russian Season? Yeah, no clue. I don't speak Russian. I don't know what they would there. Anyway, so. And then the Tumblr post continues. The short and completed version. Death falls for Life and constantly calls out to her, but because of the realms dividing them and their differences, Life cannot hear Death. One day, Death stumbles upon a frozen boy in a pitfall. Instead of taking the boy's life, he spares the child, and it is then when Life appears before them, finally able to hear Death. Together they revive the boy, with Death promising only to take the boy when his time naturally comes to die. Life and Death fall in love and eventually have a child named Hope who mediates and judges who goes where. I'm not going to try read the Russian version of that. For even in life and death, hope can arise in both situations. Unfortunately, I couldn't find more about this tale. Like, my research only ever gave me Koschei the Deathless, who did what Wally should have done with his Horcruxes, really, but that's for another Harry Potter episode. So, yeah, I couldn't find anything at all about that. Maybe if I were able to speak Russian and could search
maybe
in Russian. But yeah, my research didn't come up with anything. But
oh well, happens.
I still thought it was interesting to include here because it's an interesting story. Okay, game 4. Miss Barmaid and the old woman, who's the wife of the man from the OVA,
with the
is
pickles.
Old Maid. Yes, Old Maid, which reminds me a bit of Go Fish, but they're a bit different. Old Maid has no single winner, unless you have only 2 players, which, why would you play that if you only have 2 players? But there is one loser, and the loser has to pay for drinks.
Yeah, the name of the game didn't ring a bell at first, but then I remembered it from the DS game which had 50 games, and it was on there.
That sentence did not make sense, but I still know what you mean.
Okay, as long as you know what I mean, it's all good. So, I played it before, but never with another real person. And why is the loser the one with the Joker? It's called Old Maid. The Queen should be the last card. I always played it with a Queen as the last card.
It can be a Queen. It depends on your set of cards. Like if you have a Joker, then it's a Joker. Otherwise, you just take out one card, which could be anything. Could be a Queen, so that you only have 3 Queens, and then 1 Queen will be left over, or a King, or an Ace, or just take out any one card, and the one who's left with 1 card will lose. Easy as that.
I suppose.
But yeah, hello, Mr. Old Man from Death Billiards. Your wife has now arrived.
Aww, it's the wife with the good pickles. Such a nice old lady. But why did the old lady come alone? They only go there when 2 people die at the same time. What about the second person? And what happens when an odd number of people die at the same time? Like, how precise are they? Because we know multiple people die every second. Are they using milliseconds?
I think so. They do. And the old lady was specifically sent to play with Miss Barmaid. But the world building is also full of holes. We also never learn what happens to people who just die on their own. Like, they have to go somewhere as well. You can't. Why would you only judge the people who die at the same time?
No
that
clue.
just doesn't make sense. Anyway, very chill. Or maybe it's that everyone dies at the same time as anyone else. And then that's why. Whatever. Very chill atmosphere in this episode.
Mhm.
The old woman is quite perceptive and very sweet. And also I agree with her. And artists' creation are like their children. Although if you ask me, better than children, because like we were children. So like they are like cats.
Yeah, like Toffee, darling.
And the barmaid finally gets her name. Chiyuki.
Wow.
Yeah. And then we get the nice mask for the old woman.
Yes. Go to heaven, darling. I mean, reincarnation.
So much for that. There wasn't really much going for drama or judgment or anything.
No.
And then Oculus went nom 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 and ate some memories from Clavis, the elevator boy. Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Setup that will never get properly resolved.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then nothing. Yeah, so nothing really happened in episode 11.
No.
Just nothing happened.
Nothing happened, really.
And I have a quote here from Dekim. He says, well, actually I have 2 quotes, but I'll explain why it's 2 in a second. So the first quote is, I say that people do not live just so that they can someday die. It is because they are alive that they someday die. There is no point to living. The same goes for judgment. Judgment must be performed hand in hand with both life and death. It is something that must be performed hand in hand with humans. And I'm like, this is the quote I found online, but my episode notes tell me that our subtitles said there is a reason to life, not there is no point to living. It's like, the quote I wrote down was, people do not live just so they can someday die. It is because they are alive that they someday die. There is a point to living. I'm
Yeah,
like,
that's what I
why
remember.
do they... That's the opposite. One's like, there's no point to living, which I agree with, and the other's like, there is a point to living.
Well, I
Why?
suppose.
Yeah, if we were able to speak Japanese, we could translate, but no, neither of us does.
How did you know that was exactly what I wanted to say just now? I wanted
your mind.
because I wanted to say, unless we get fluent in Japanese, we will probably never know what it actually said.
I'm curious. Maybe one of our audience, or maybe someone in our audience knows.
Maybe.
Like, what does he say? I need to know.
We
Is
need
there a
to
point to
know.
living or not?
Not only
And
you.
if there is a point to living, what is it? Tell me.
I can't tell you. Sorry.
Oh well, back to Death Parade. We learned that the idol went to the void, the Ginti idol.
Yeah.
Why does Ginti give me the impression that he would cast everyone into the void?
Well, not the old woman.
Yeah, but Ginti doesn't get the old woman.
Yeah, but we don't see any of his other customers, though, you know?
True. But I really can't picture him sending anyone to what in this world is perceived as the good option, reincarnation. Right for everyone. Then again, he'd probably be fired as an arbiter if he did that.
Probably. So I
Anyway,
guess.
so yeah, he gives the fangirl the option to bring back the idol, but he's obviously testing her. I don't think getting a soul back from the void is even possible in the first place. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that's really possible, but I was like, can this be considered the train track dilemma? Like, do you save the one person you know and care about, or the 10 people you don't know and are completely unimportant to you? Well, in her case, it's sacrifice.
Is that even... I don't remember it that way. I just remember it's like one person and several people. I don't remember the part about knowing them. It's just like, is one life more than multiple lives? How much is a life worth? And then there are versions where like the one person is an important politician or a baby or something.
Well, I can see the one with the baby or important politician. I can see that also being the case, but I remember it as like, yeah, this is an important person to you, or like at least someone you are not indifferent about. Maybe an important politician could be the case, but
who cares about politicians?
Yeah, who cares about politicians? But I suppose some people do. It's like, okay, you know that it's like the moral dilemma of like, okay, is the life of this one person, if they're like an important person in society or if they are just close to you, I don't know. And then these 10 people or however many, and you don't know them at all. It's like, yeah, one life against many is one life more important than the life of multiple others. And it's like, yeah, that people have a hard time to decide that. I mean, even if all of the people, if you don't know any of them, it would still be hard, but that choice would still be easier for you. And then, like, let me just throw out a number here. 90% of the people would choose, like, okay, let the one person die and the 10 live, because it's like, okay, 9 more people get to live. And if you have a person you care about there, then the choice is so much harder, because you care about this person. This person is important for whatever reason, and you don't want to kill them. But then again, they're like these 10 people. And it's like, dilemma, can't decide. Program stop working, human shut down. You know?
Can I kill them all?
No, you can't. Back to the fangirl. Well, in her case, it's sacrificing one unknown person to bring back her idol. And I think if her idol were still with her in that bar, her choice would be easier. Maybe. But I suppose Ginti also wants to learn about human emotions with this test he proposes. And he just goes about it in a different way compared to Dekim.
Perhaps. Then again, Dekim does the same to the barmaid, so...
Yeah. But
void
later.
for the fangirl. See? Ginti sends everyone to the void.
Why? I don't get it. Like, she decided that she wants to dedicate her life to the idol she admires, and she didn't kill anyone because of it, or she didn't make others miserable. Most likely just annoyed, you know? Or like, what did she do that she deserves to be sent to the void?
Well, maybe because the idol is already in the void, and so she can be with her idol. She's also sent to the void.
Well, she wouldn't remember the idol in the next life.
No,
and do you think Ginti would be so sentimental?
No. That's what I mean. That's what I mean. They're both. He is already in the void, so she is sent to him into the void, and then we see 2 glowing orbs combining. Does that mean the fangirl and the idol soul are now merged? Anyway,
I have no clue.
But yeah, you could interpret it that way. Like, yeah, she was sent to the void to where the idol is that she dedicated her life to, so she could be with him in the void.
Sure.
Because reincarnation would separate them.
Yes, reincarnation would separate them. I suppose you can see it that way, but I didn't think that Ginti would send her to the void because of that. But now that I think about it, it could also very much be possible. Who knows in the end?
Yeah, if you don't believe in reincarnation being heaven, the better option. If you are like, yeah, there are two options of equal value.
Yeah. Let's perish together.
Something like that. But yeah, no, we see a little scene of Chiyoki coming in alone, remembering that she's dead, which is an anomaly.
Mm-hmm.
Makes one wonder how often do anomalies like Chiyoki happen, considering how many humans die each day.
No clue.
Yeah. Like, okay, it's a low possibility, but a lot of people die.
Yes.
Also theme music, and yes, ice skating scenes.
Yes.
I want to be able to skate like that. But I unfortunately only know speed skating and some simple basics of figure skating. Professional figure skaters always make it seem so easy, gliding over the ice, dancing freely. Makes me think of Yuri on Ice a bit. Also, very nice animation in that scene. Very pretty.
Yes, very nice animation.
Ice skating is love. I didn't get to go ice skating last winter, now that I think about it. Oh no! Oh no! I didn't get to ice skate.
Well, I'm not good at ice skating, sadly. But I would want to be. It looks nice when the professionals do it so effortlessly, like dancing on the ice. But I can't do that. I will never be able to do that, sadly.
So, Chiyoki says that people can't understand each other. And Dekim kind of not really replies, I want to understand you better. He doesn't say that, but I think that's what he means.
Yeah, most likely that is what he means. And I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting to understand each other. Like, we can't always understand each other, but you can try. And maybe if you don't understand, you can at least sympathize or something similar.
Well, basically, humans are very simple creatures, driven by their emotions, which makes them hard to understand because emotions are not rational. But it's like people say humans are complex, but in the end, like everything that I do is just driven by emotions, by chemicals doing stuff in your brain, making you make decisions, I suppose.
Yeah.
Anyway, so for Chiyuki's point about humans never being capable of truly knowing one another, I'd like to refer to something I quoted in our second episode of the Magnus Archives under the Lonely section. By the way, go listen to the Magnus Archives.
Yes, go do that.
I am talking about Magnus episode 150. Should I quote it again, or should I just leave the timestamp for a podcast episode in the description? I mean, people could also go and listen to episode 150 of the Magnus Archives, because, yes, do that.
Yes, go do that. Go listen to the podcast episode. But, I mean, the Magnus Archives is just good, so why not just include it again?
In that case, let me do a little hydration check first.
Yes, good idea.
So, alright, I shall quote it again. The statement of that episode begins with the following two paragraphs. Life is hard. I don't want to bum you out or anything, but yeah. You're all alone, trying to connect with people, trying to find your place in the world, but in the end, the only person you really know is yourself. And even then, not all that well. There's plenty of things I've done I couldn't explain to you. I mean, I'm constantly looking back at my past self and thinking, what an idiot. How the hell could he have done such an obviously stupid thing? How was I surprised it went so badly? What a relief I'm now so much older and wiser. Except that last part never really turns out to be true, does it? The line of when you were your dumb younger self seems to keep moving forward with you, until each more mature and reasonable version of you eventually falls full of it and becomes a young idiot. And when you add in another person, you reach a whole other level. You can love them, marry them, dedicate your life to them. That's not the same as actually understanding them. And so on. I love that statement.
It is a lovely quote, a nice statement. I like it.
Yeah, I think it might be one of my favorite episodes of Magnus. The other ones being the end, because nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Also, there's a little Death Note cameo in this episode. And also, it is mentioned that more and more people die recently. Like, death rate increased. So I'm like, so is Light Yagami responsible for the increased death rate?
He might be responsible for that.
Since they apparently take place in a different universe. Also, so we know where all the people go who Light kills with his Death Note.
Yes.
And he himself. I wonder where he went, Void or reincarnation?
I would probably say Void, because he did
maybe there's
kill
like
a lot of people.
Maybe Death Note users are special cases and get special judgment treatment stuff.
Yeah, probably.
So yeah, now Dekim does the same as Ginti. A test for the human he is unable to judge. And here as well, I think it's I don't think it's possible that like the exchange of lives Dekim is proposing that just no, I don't think he can bring her back to life.
And
he doesn't have that authority in the first place.
No. And in what body would she even live if she chooses to live again? Like, her own is rotting right now.
Yeah, good question. Maybe a puppet body? Maybe the body of whoever she kills.
That could
But yeah,
be.
so we get this very traumatic, emotional scene about people wanting to understand, and she wants to apologize to her mom and yada yada yada. And so Chiyuki is crying and sad and desperate, and her mom is also crying, although we know that's not a real mom. And I was honestly holding back my laughter because Dekim's shocked, dramatic expressions were just funny.
Yeah, our dear assistant girl tells us that everyone has someone who cares about them, and that she couldn't press that button because of it. But she still wanted to apologize to her mom and talk to her, and asked Dickie to press the button for her, because then it would be her selfish decision, right? Emotions. Complicated. And then it's like, oh no, Dickie was crying. He's crying. I almost cried myself seeing him cry. And then he apologizes and needs a hug, and then he gets a hug, and it's so emotional. And Neitshayd just wanted to laugh.
It was funny. Dickie's expressions make me laugh. Just it looks funny. Funny.
Mhm.
Also, see, I knew it wasn't real. There was no way. Dickie just wants to understand. And yeah, we got a hug.
Hug.
I mean, tears are good, I heard. And crying is good, or so they say. So, yeah, I suppose it's cathartic?
However
What
you
was that
pronounce that word.
No, I forgot how to. I will look up how to spell it, and then I can tell you what the word is. I forgot how to spell it. Is there a T in there or not? Yeah. Also,
I don't think so.
we get another scene between Oculus and Nona, who supposedly don't have any emotions, but I think they express plenty of emotions in that little confrontation that doesn't go anywhere, because of course not. There is a T in there.
Is it
It's cathartic. Yeah, cathartic. See? Cathartic. Anyway, yeah. I think Oculus stands for, what's the another word? Nihilism? I think it's nihilism. Like, life is meaningless and yada yada. Look it up. It's a philosophy. I didn't bother looking it up. Although I think I fall under that category now that I think about it. Yeah, Nona is whatever the opposite is called. Calling for change. It's like humans can't judge humans, but should arbiters judge humans? And well, we don't get a resolution to the Oculus versus Nona, because no, we don't. It's
nope.
Not a good point. It's a weak point of this anime.
Yes.
But in a second. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, Chiyuki is sent to reincarnation. Also, look, a real smile on Dickim's face.
It's beautiful.
Well, he's a pretty character and all that.
Yes.
And Ginti doesn't know where the cat is. How dare he? How dare he?
How can he not know where his cat is? You always have to know where your cat is. Don't you miss her? Don't you want to cuddle her? Hear the purring?
Our Toffee is sleeping on the table.
Yes.
Isn't she adorable? Pet cat.
Yes, this fat cat is very adorable. We love her.
Yeah, and then we end the series with a fourth arbiter rule, just for Dickim. Arbiters may not work hand in hand with life, or that will ruin them. Although Dickim continues working, so I suppose he wasn't ruined after all.
I guess not.
So, was it good? The show? No, it wasn't. No, yeah, well, both yes and no. So the pacing was a bit wonky, perhaps because of the episodic setup, perhaps because the storytelling just failed on that part. I think it's actually because the storytelling failed a bit. Like, we got, 4 intermission episodes that were just not contributing to anything? And you really can't go too deep into the world building, because then things will fall apart. I mean, that's how most anime and manga series are. Not all of them, though. There are some really good gems out there. But still. And while we do see quite a few locations of the place, we never really get proper explanations for them. One could argue that it's for the mystery atmosphere, but I personally think it missed the mark, if that's the case. They set up a lot of potential world building, lore, and this conflict with Oculus, and then just never actually explored the details, nor did they resolve the conflict they set up. There's also quite a few inconsistencies once you pay a bit more attention to small details.
Like the train stations. Explain the train stations to me. Why trains?
No one knows. And yeah, it's not the moral dilemmas we need answers to. It's the way this afterlife world works. How and why, the mechanics of it all. What Oculus's deal is and so on. That's what we need answers for. Perhaps had there been a second season that delved deeper into the workings of this world? But alas, we never got one, and so the world building is rather shallow and full of holes. Other than that, well, I suppose animation, color schemes, sound effects, music, all nicely done and balanced, but I mean, this is Studio Madhouse. Of course it's all done well. I mean, the opening's all over the place, though. It's still a banger opening, but all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Interestingly enough, the animation doesn't actually tell you much about this show apart from showing you the characters and Chavvot. Because usually anime openings are full of spoilers.
Well, this banger is an opening every time. And never, ever skip it. I will ask Neitshayd to kill you.
Whoa, easy. I'm not going to do that.
No?
Just ask your underlings or something. You can't make me.
Right.
If they're not snacks, I'm not interested. No. No.
Okay. Well, maybe I was a bit overdramatic. But still, don't skip the opening.
Don't skip the ending either. One, because there are scenes after the ending that are important to the episodes. Two, because that ending song is so beautiful.
Just never skip openings or endings in anime in general. You know?
Mm-hmm. Unless they're bad.
Yes, there are a
Obnoxiously
few
bad.
of those.
But most of them are really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Chiyuki's piano song as well is like, it's calm, serene, heart-wrenchingly sad. We hear it a lot during the entire show. And visually, like, the backgrounds around the afterlife place thingy are meticulously detailed. The real-world places we see through memories are gorgeous. Like, visually, this anime is a full-course meal. But the world it creates doesn't quite work logically.
Well,
Also, world building aside, characters. Some people say the characters of Death Parade are very complex and deep, likely talking about the game participants rather than the Arbiters. Others say every character is incredibly underdeveloped. I say, personally, my opinion, the game participants get as much backstory and complexity as needed, and Dekim with his barmaid received their character development towards the end of the season, so that's fine, I guess. But the rest of the side characters, like Arcutus especially, but also Nona and Ginti and Clavis and everyone else, those were severely underdeveloped. To be fair, Death Parade isn't about the characters, nor the plot. It's about human emotions and whether non-humans should judge human beings and stuff, but... yeah, so it is definitely not the best anime out there. It has its weaknesses, but it's still a fun watch and it poses some really intriguing moral questions. Also, take care of your mental well-being, for God's sake.
yes, please do. Yeah.
For Arbiter's sake? For reincarnation's sake?
Who knows? But overall...
Can't say Satan's sake, because Satan doesn't exist in this world.
No.
The Death Parade world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would say the anime is maybe good overall. It has its weaknesses, it has its holes, but it's not bad. Not bad, you know. But it isn't a must.
It's a good show.
It's a must.
Just
yeah.
don't think too deeply about the world building. Focus on the moral dilemma, and then it's a good show.
Sit back, relax, enjoy, and I suppose think about the moral dilemmas. Anyways.
Cry.
Yes, cry. Cry together with Dickie. Cry with him. And get a hug afterwards. Cuddle a cat. You know?
And take care of your mental well-being. Can't stress that enough.
Yes, very, very important. So, I guess now we've reached the end of the show and reached the end of this episode.
You can find us on Twitter, Spotify, and obviously on YouTube, all under Tea and Toffees. If you enjoyed this episode, leave us a comment, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. We'll see you all next time. Bye bye.